I think we need to hit that and then the from beginning.
Okay, so clase. I want to do a lesson on nacionalidades for Unidad 1A. So what we need to understand is with nationalities, number and gender matters. So when I look at this screen that you're looking at right now, you see el país. El país means country, and then I've listed Spanish-speaking countries below that. Then we have la nacionalidad, which would be the nationality, and again, la nacionalidad. So two different ways to see nacionalidad. I'm going to just pronounce these quickly for you, some of them. So we have Mexico, and then mexicano or mexicana. Guatemala, guatemalteco, guatemalteca. Honduras, hondureño, hondureña. And you can go ahead and read the rest of those. My question for you, there's two of them, and I posted them at the bottom. So what can you conclude about nationalities as you look at these two columns, and what's the difference between those two? So think about that for a second, and then we'll go to the next slide. So hopefully what you concluded is that there are actually different ways to talk about people's nationality, and that is dependent upon the gender of the individual and the number of people that you're giving the nationality for. The first column of nationalities showed you, if we go back to the first column, you see that all of those nationalities end in O. And in the second column, all of the nationalities end in A. So what that is reflecting is that the nationality that ends in an O is referring to one male that is Mexican, for example, here, or one male that is Cuban, cubano. Over here we see the column that reflects a single female, that is Puerto Riqueña or Dominicana. So she's Dominican or she's Puerto Rican. The takeaway on this is that when you see an adjective, which a nationality is, that ends in an O, that generally refers to a singular masculine noun. And conversely, if it ends in an A, it's generally a feminine singular noun. Here are some other countries and nationalities. These are all outside the Spanish-speaking world. These are part of your vocabulary for this unit. So Alemania, which is Germany. The nationality for a single male would be alemán. A single female would be alemana. Inglaterra is England. The person is inglés, English, which is also the language, and inglesa for a female. Korea would be Korean, coreano, coreana. China is obviously China. That's the country, but the nationality is Chino for a male, Chinese, or China for a female. Then we have Francia, France, Japón, Japan, Portugal, and their nationalities. So what I'd like you to note here is that in the feminine singular form, if you look over here, when the nationality ended in an N or an S, that to make it feminine, you simply added that A. And this happened with Coreano, Chino, Francés. All of them end in either an N or an S in their masculine form. We add the A to get their feminine form. But the other point you need to notice and take away is that the accent mark on that last syllable goes away when you add that additional letter because you're adding another syllable. So if I want to ask you what your nationality is, I say to you, ¿Cuál es tu nacionalidad? Your response should be, Yo soy estadounidense, which means in my vocabulary, I'm United Statesan. But since we don't have that term, we would say I'm American. We don't say I'm American to a person who's from Central South America because they are all Americans too. So to clearly delineate what your nationality is, instead we say Yo soy estadounidense. Now if you notice, estadounidense ends in an E. So there isn't a masculine and feminine form of it. that reflects males and females. The same way is true for these nationalities below. A Canadian is canadiense, whether he's a male or she's a female. A Costa Rican is costarricense, and it doesn't matter gender. Nicaragua, nicaraguense. Now, for this U, there should be 2 dots over it. I don't know how to make that symbol, but just so you understand that. So now what do we do if we want to talk about more than one person? So there's a plural rule, and this applies to all words that you want to make plural. If the word ends in a consonant, simply add an ES. If it ends in a vowel, add an S. If it ends in a Z, change that Z to C and then add an ES. So I've given you examples down here. So Mexicano is one single male Mexican. You want to make it plural. Mexicano ends in an O, which is a vowel, so we add an S. So now this could be 2, 3, 4 Mexicans. Mexicana, one single female Mexican. If there's more than one female Mexican, we say Mexicanas. Now notice if it ends in a consonant, like we have here, an S or an N, that's consonant, so the rule is add another ES. In those cases, because you're adding another syllable, you're going to drop off that accent mark. We go to francesa or alemana, that's a vowel, so we add just an S. So te toca a ti means now it's your turn. So I'm going to leave these up here for a few minutes and you guys work on them. You want to try to translate each of these sentences and see what you believe they mean. And just stop the video and then you can continue it. I'll give you the answer. Okay, so hopefully you stopped it, you started it again. So when you see yo soy alemana, that means I am German and it is a single female. If I say eres inglés, somebody is asking, are you English? And they are talking to one male. Él es chino. He is Chinese, and it's a single male. Usted es coreana, ¿verdad? You are Korean, right? And the person who is being spoken to is a single female. You know that because of coreana. Ella es japonesa. She is Japanese. I lost my slide. So she is Japanese. We know that because this says japonesa. Maria es de Nevada. Ella es estadounidense. So Maria is from, the word de, Nevada. She is United Statesen or American. And finally, 7, el estudiante es italiano. The student is Italian, and this student is male. I don't know that from the word estudiante because that could be a female or a male, but I do from the masculine the right here and from the O at the end of Italiano. Okay, I hope that answers all your questions about nationalities.